Yes, but it's deep. That's really deep.
Yeah, I think there's a tunnel walk down there. Today we're going to do something really fun. We're going to do a before and after fort. Before and after what, you may now ask yourself. And since I travel in the world of destruction, it is before or after the Russians, of course. This is the tale of two forts. Out of four, but that gets complicated, so let's move on. You may remember the amazing Fort Sorndorf near Kustrin that we visited a few years ago. It was really exceptional, as it had partially been blown up by the Red Army after the Second World War, but the ruins, they really were something special to see. So I'm just going to remind you for a couple of minutes of this amazing fort, because there's going to be a follow-up story. Fort Sorndorf is one of the four defensive forts built around Kustrin Fortress from 1883 to 1889 by the Prussians. It was near the German-Polish border. It is hidden deep in a forest. Fort Sorndorf quickly lost its importance with the rapid evolving artillery techniques and the new plunging shell and so on and so forth. This fort actually never saw any battle. Instead, this fort was converted into a prison during the First World War for French prisoners. And during the Second World War, it served as an ammunition factory. The construction was used about 28 million double bricks. Building this fortress was for 310 soldiers. It was partially an artillery fortress. The embrasures were equipped with 3 centimeters of steel plates that can be retracted. Thus, Fort Sorndorf was the first armored fort in history, thrust into the Prussians, and it was the last one built of the Biele-type fortresses. Until 1990, the Polish army used the facility as a camp and a cattle barn. Since then, it has been pretty abandoned, as you can see, and for some interesting, strange reason, it was also used as an interim illegal camp for human smugglers trying to get to Germany, as it's right on the border. There are also rumors that persist that French prisoners of war had buried a huge gold treasure on the site during the First World War. Because there's nothing suspect in prisoners of war carrying large chests of gold into captivity with them. So that sounds really plausible, n'est-ce pas? Anyway, it is extremely photogenic, and these ruins almost look like artworks. I really enjoy this place, and I really do want to go back when all the mosquitoes have been killed. You know, when I see this, it makes me kind of proud to be of Prussian heritage.
The gun position, panzer
yes.
plate, and you can pull the panzer plate with a chain.
It is still there. Oh, wow. This is exactly like you would see the forts built before World War I, before World War II. And the little pulley. Wow. I don't know what to say about this place. This is really... I want to know who built it. I want to know how much they paid for it. And I want whoever built this staircase 300 years ago to build me every staircase I will ever have to walk again. This is straighter than I've seen new staircases. Holy shit. And it just keeps going up. And up and up. And up and up. And here's the out. Here's the second floor. I'm on the second floor of something that may or may not collapse on me, but right now I don't care. Holy shit. And here the staircase continues up to where I was. But I should make sure, shouldn't I? Because it doesn't. Well, it does. So here was, you can see a powder room maybe here. And here's the upstairs where the soldiers would come out. The end of the staircase. Look at this. We'll call down the chutes. I'm completely guessing here because I have nothing to go by. Except how cool it all looks. The stairwell here is the one thing I remember. I absolutely love this stairwell, and I really wanted to see one like this intact. So that brings us to having to visit the sister fort of Zorndorf, Fort Gorgast, and that is located on the German side of the border today. After the Franco-Prussian War of 1870-1871, the memoirs of 1813 where the French had occupied Kostrin during the Napoleonic Wars in 1803 to 1815, burning down the town on their way out in 1814. It was due to this very memory, plus the German fears of a Franco-Russian alliance, that Kostrin was heavily fortified at the end of the 19th century. Despite, in 1871, the frontiers of the German Empire had moved. Haubitzen! The fortress city of Kostrin was to receive a strong defensive ring of 4 new forts. In 1883, the Prussian Minister of War, Georg von Camke, issued the very highest cabinet order for the establishment of a fort belt around Kostrin, in order to protect the largest railway hub in Prussia. It was built between 1883 and 1889. Fort Gorgast is the best preserved fort of these. It was the only fort to control the western bank of the Oder River and provide a retreat space for troops. The fort was built on farmland from bricks and is surrounded by a 42-meter wide and 3-meter deep moat. Prisoners from the Sonnenberg Penitentiary was also used to build the buildings. Like Zorndorf, it was an artillery fort. It was designed for a crew of up to 310 men, 200 to 300 infantrymen, and 60 artillerymen. Mostly it was constructed in brick, but the gatehouse had a drawbridge and all. The powder magazines were located in the central barracks, and the fort had a fountain with an artesian well with a tank that is still functioning today. The living and working rooms of the fort were equipped with furnace heating. As early as 1892 and 93, the vaulted ceilings of the powder magazine and the munition magazine was reinforced with a concrete layer. However, the fort was already military outdated and obsolete due to the new weapons and artillery and shells, and it served mainly as a depot and barracks for the following many decades. to see how this actually looks now. It's just compared to what we saw. You couldn't walk through and have an idea of what it looked like. So this was all the barracks. And you guys are just gonna have to enjoy that there's a dog enjoying herself here. Remember, dogs makes everything better, including old fortresses. But it's just wait till you see the staircase. I'm just dying to see the staircase. It's the weirdest things. However, the destroyed part was far more fun.
I can guess.
So that is literally it. So on each side, these are the barrack areas, the casernes were here. This is where the soldiers would be quartered. And these are the same on each side of the walkway. Nice curve. So this would be the equivalency of the peacetime barracks. She's just having fun. This is fun. This is fun. I'm being a dog. I'm having fun here. I have no idea what this is. Thomas? This must be a chimney, right? This must have been like a fireplace or... Yeah, this hole there.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Again, this was like the other one, heated originally by fireplaces. It was built in 1880s. Why there are those little holes, little walkways there in between. The big pillars, but I guess staircase. It's like it's almost like it's only aesthetic. It's like it's only just for the aesthetics of it. There's no real function. This whole thing, I just remember this tunnel in the destroyed Sister Fort was just so dark and tore up. Actually looked better. Well, you know what I mean. So So this whole wall wasn't even there in the other fort. It's funny. In the other fort, the Sister Fort that's destroyed, this whole section is not even there. But I see through a window. What am I seeing? Oh, this is where this staircase was. It's not the same though. This only part of the staircase has come down. So I don't actually get to see
the intact staircase of the fort that I was dying to see.
It is so nice to see this fort as a whole after seeing how destroyed Sorndov was. However, my heart did break a little when I found that this staircase I so much wanted to see had of course been blown up by the Russians. Thanks.
That being bricked up, I keep thinking that might be into where the destroyed staircase is, because that would have gone all the way through back in the day. But in the ceiling, you still see a lot of attachment from things that was hung up here. This is where the nice staircase would have been. Here comes the dog. Hi, happy dog. So, these must have been also offices and barracks. Was this also Kaserne? Oh, mountains on the floor for things. Not mountains per se. Lots of holes in the walls. A lot of attachments everywhere for things that has been dismantled. And again, here in the smaller section, you have a smaller arch here. Oh, ventilation. But here it's covered, unlike the French forts, to the upper floor. There's a floor in between and it goes all the way up. What an amazing place. Ah, we all recognize this staircase. Wow, the staircases here are destroyed. We're in the destroyed forts. They're actually in one piece. This is very strange. So, out of curiosity, it's down here. After the DDR dissolved, the German army took this over for some time. Because obviously this is not a tenable barracks, kaserne, anything, military installation anymore. Not even for training, it just wouldn't be feasible to have soldiers here or make this warm and inhabitable. But it is just an interesting experience to walk these hallways in an intact fort after seeing the sister fort so thoroughly destroyed. Actually, upright walls, it's staggering. This is the tunnel to the artillery, and the other tunnel, oh wow, is for the powder store. This is a newer door. light looks like it's flickering because of the light bulb in here. That's just something we're gonna have to live with. Just gives it a very eerie green. These tunnels I hadn't even. So this is for the. These are so different. This is the powder store, but these little connecting canals, it's got to be the window. It's got to be a little window or light. There's not. This is just a dead-end hallway that leads outside. Oh, is there a door there? No, there's not. So that's the one side of the powder store. What's up there? So those small vertical, those small parallel tunnels runs inside these walls. Yep. And then we get in here, and then there better be the little windows. Dog leads the way. Here's the other side of those tunnels. Get out of there, you meatball. Alright, I hope you enjoy dogs. We do. Here is the next tunnel. I don't understand, where are the windows into the powder store where you put the little light? Here we go. There we go. The elevator door. I'm behind the powder magazine. They bricked them up. That's what they did, because in here you would have those little windows where you would put the light for the powder store. Which is, somebody wrote something here. Which is of course something that was obsolete when we closed in on World War I. Are you with me, puppy dog? She is with me. I made sure she was well stimulated on meatballs, and this is dead end. Well, that's not where we thought we were going, is it? Alright, we're going the other way then. So all the surrounding entries, lighting hatches, is closed off in this one. I wonder why. And there's a lot of these powder stores whose remember you got cannons upstairs everywhere. So this is the powder store with, I swear, the weirdest lighting setup. I can show you because this is just weird. But anyway, this is one of the powder stores. There would have been, yeah, you see the market little windows there. And then you have here the trio for lighting, ventilation. Wonder when they were bricked up. Now, as we came here, I saw a thing that I did not really recognize sitting in this little hall here. Here, dog, coming. Here you go. This thing. What is this thing? Thomas? Is there any notes on this? You put your shells in there and put the fuse in maybe? Could be a fusing table? I actually don't know what this is. So you put the grenade in and you clamp the fuse on?
Yeah.
So they were actually, just having something like this, you could do a lot of fuses in one go. But didn't this fort start with black powder cannon and ball? No, it didn't. No, it didn't. It was built in 1980 with the, this is a proper plunging shell. Ew, that's right. I thought these for a minute were Alright, let's see what's in here. What do you think, puppy? Think there's meatballs down here? I'm certainly gonna look for one. I swear, this really makes me want to show you the destroyed fort. Now we're here. What then makes it cool is up here. I actually thought I was going to see, I'm looking for an observation dome or something, but I am not entirely clear what this was. Except ventilation. Maybe an emergency up and down for the soldiers. There we go, making a mess. I know you're enjoying that. Okay, so it's a little destroyed. So much for it not being a destroyed fort. Something happened here. If she comes out with a skeleton or a cranium or something, I don't think we should say anything. There must have been either fight. Could you like stop? I'm talking. I mean, there must have been some fighting going on here. I mean, the Russians blew them up after, but well, I guess we can't get out that way. Okay. See, they locked you in. We'll all lock it in, my friends. But look at how ornate this was. The brickworks. All the little details and the work that was put into a fighting fort.
Kustrin Fortress survived the First World War and continued undamaged, even despite the extremely vicious and hard fighting in the area of this town in 1945, which saw most of Kustrin destroyed, along with much of the hinterland around it. Fort Gorgast, which was used at the time as an auxiliary hospital, was not destroyed, even with the Russian offensive rolling right past it onto the Silo Heights. And in the spring of 1945, the fort was occupied by the Red Army, whom, of course, blew up small parts of the fort, just because they can't help themselves. But the majority of the fort survived. However, the moat is still full of discarded Second World War weaponry, which is why swimming is forbidden. Don't know about diving, we'll see.
Dog.
Especially with those leaves.
I hope so.
Perfect.
You never know what you find in leaves. I mean, there could be anything down there. It could be like meatballs and stuff. I think that's why I like dogs more than cats. Because dogs, they can just be happy. You get to run around and be happy.
I think it's my home.
Well, the leaves down there were happy. like digging through the leaves. There's stuff here. It's just funny to see it, you know, in one piece still. But the ruin was cooler. But the brickwork is what I really love about these. It's so detailed, so ornate, so many. Hi, puppish. So that is what that wall looks like in one piece. And then there would have been the ramp this is the ramp we walked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same in Songdo.
The anchor to pull the cannons.
Yeah.
So you'll anchor the cannons down, and then you'd have a draft animal, a horse or something, pull them up of this. Yeah, bad Russians, they did blow some of it, of course they did. I thought this was going to be all intact. That's what you get.
Cannon stores.
Is what?
Destroyed for the cannon stores.
Yeah, oh, cannons, okay.
Unterstand.
Yeah.
Up to 12, 20 kilometers. 12 kilometers.
Yeah, because, or they'll be sitting down here. There's actually a dip down here. That's why. So the howitzers were sitting in here, or whatever they were, I'll find out, will be sitting here in these cannon stores. They'll be rolled out here and fired over the lake out that way. How old you must think for fuses, cannon, the cannon stores there, 2 of them. Their pits and more bastions here. But when it's as overgrown as it is, it's just like where the sister fort is, but here's the ditch, the inner, and around the whole fort they placed an artificial lake. So it's surrounded by water, making it far less accessible, which is why some of the close defensive positions are not where they were on the other. Although here's trenches, what's left of them, when they were made. If they're from the original time of construction, from the concept of defense, it's hard to tell. I doubt the Russians blew it up and then started digging trenches, so I'm going to go with them being original. These are the latrines for the artillerymen up on the hill. So they actually have latrine tubes. And that's got to be the well, isn't it? They wouldn't have the well right next to the latrine.
Toilet.
But this. Is this the well? For the Wasser? Oh, yeah. Ah. So this is the destroyed part. Signed to the latrines. I should put a little delivery road here. Ah, what have we here? What have we here? Cracking could just as well be natural decay from, I mean, this was protected by a lot of dirt. This could have been a storeroom. Actually, I don't know. This could have been. I don't know why somebody wanted here a load of stuff. I have no idea what this is. Well, could go out on a limb and say this was a cannon store. If it wasn't for that road that's up there that's paved. So it's not. Huh. Interesting detail. One would think it would be easier to piece together what things were when the fort is at least a lot less destroyed than what we've seen. That's not the case. This was an original road, walkway. There's a puppy dog waiting for me. And he went back to the fort. So when we saw the other fort the first time, we came down one of these ramps and saw that whole facade completely opened up. That's just such a hell of a difference. There wasn't a straight wall facing us when we came down that ramp like there is here. What are you hiding in here? Why am I seeing cement? What's that? Was ist das denn? Das ist neu. Was ist das?
Ja, sieht aus wie Zweite Weltkrieg.
Zweite Weltkrieg. Was war hier unter dem Zweiten Weltkrieg? Lazarett, okay. So there's a field hospital here, or a field hospital. There was a hospital here during the Second World War. This is another one of these little rooms that is now full of wood, which is fair. But that will. This is a small little room, but I can't help to be a little intrigued at this thing that was built during the Second World War. To the point where I feel I have to walk around it, see what it is. This is here, and it doesn't. Well, that didn't exactly help. So this is a cement shroud for that. I wonder if there was an antenna, something sitting here. That thing. That's interesting. There's wood, so it was enclosed in some way on the back here, maybe. Oh, there's a hole there. Maybe it was a water system, fuel. Could be fuel. It could be a fuel. So have the fuel in there, so if there was a catastrophic event, it would funnel the blast the other direction. That actually makes sense. Look a little. That does look a little newer, pieced together by stuff. Somehow it is just less impressive when it's in one piece. Can't explain why. So this is the front courtyard, in a design way that sort of lends us to a few hundred years before and after. Peacetime barracks, wartime barracks, artillery position. That? What have we there? Ooh, what have we there? Wonder if there used to be a wall there. Went all the way across. I wonder if that wall went all the way across from there to here in some way. And a doggy video. I would imagine this powder magazine. Maybe the one we saw from the other side. This whole Appellplatz here, I don't know what else to call it, and I guess I'm going to have to explain the term Appellplatz. Appell is when you have your muster, morning muster. You assemble all the soldiers. Appell, same in Danish as German. So you need a big square, because that's where you assemble your soldiers. So if I see a big square in what is essentially a military installation, I will call it an Appellplatz. Just because.
I really wanted to share with you what Fort Gorgast looks like so you can get an idea of what Fort Zorndorf once looked like when it was somewhat intact. Or at least so you get an idea from a contemporary fort of this type. However, Zorndorf is special. But now, what of the other two forts that was here, you now ask? Well, see, we went to have a look for them, and that was a very interesting experience. We did find one, but it will require some equipment and another return there, and I will show you why. We may also need Dr. Jones for this one.
We don't know a whole lot about this, except it was built in the 1880s for two companies of artillery, part of the coastline defenses, like Gorgast and Zorndorf. I see something that looks like cement. I see something that looks like... This doesn't look like 1880 at all. It looks like this has been reinforced. This is the reinforcement. This is cement. They poured cement over this possibly before World War I. I don't see why they would reinforce it before World War II. But this is the reinforcing layer, the same as the French did in their forts after the plunging shell of the shell crisis of the 1880s. This is actually really cool to see how this was done. And I keep looking at this bird as if that's not World War II symbol of a unit, but I don't know, it could also just be nothing. It is more fun to see it this way. God, that's me in 20 years. Oh well. All right. We had long conversations about this. I was so frustrated when I heard that after the war the local mayor had the outer buildings and much of this dismantled for the bricks to rebuild after the war. But it is understandable to some degree. Your country's devastated, you have nothing. The bricks, they did the same thing from Coastline. They took the bricks from there to rebuild. And what are you going to do in a war zone? I would imagine this would be the well. Is that a refrigerator? No comment. Like this. Probably a refrigerator. What I really love is there's not a lot of graffiti here. In fact, I actually don't see any at all. This was probably the staircase leading up to one of the bastions. I see a little daylight. I would crawl over there. Try to prove my point before we bring a ladder down here that it would crawl up here long enough. Here at least. Wow. So the tunnel would have continued, and I have daylight here. I don't know why. I have daylight and a steel beam holding a piece of cement right over my head. Well, that sounds kind of stupid, doesn't it? In what I think it's bigger than an ammunition shelter or a ammunition hoist, and it's close by sand. Oh wait, yeah, there are one parallel tunnel and one sloping tunnel and one access to upstairs. So it's actually kind of interesting. Because these tunnels must be relatively close to the surface. But you can't get through any of them. But from upstairs, one of them we would be able to see a vertical drop. And I'm actually surprised it's not covered because it must be hard to see from upstairs. You would think. Here's the mosquitoes. drainage tunnel. Even back then. I love myself my pre-World War II forts, but the ones built after and before the Franco-Prussian War are just the cool ones. Here comes the dog. Here's a man with his dog. Hi, dog. This is powder magazine? I think it must have been. Oh, this was the powder magazine. There's the little hole. You would put a lamp in there, like an oil lamp or something. Put a glass plate in front of it so it would not, or could not in any way, connect with the powder in here. And I'm guessing there were shelves. It's actually interesting. I haven't seen these. There must have been. Oh, these are permanent one. And then with the holes in the walls. There must have been some shelving in this. Interesting. Powder magazine. Okay, so this was a little S-shaped hallway there. With the powder magazine there, and the well down there. Probably a couple of ramps up to the gun positions up here. And then there's a man with his dog. It's no wonder people can't find it. I said the bricks back then were better than they are today. I wonder how much further out this would be. It doesn't look like this was reinforced. I have another little wonder. Apparently there was no fighting over this. It's too small, you see, all the way up there. For bricks. Alright, let's try this. Party slope here.
Yes, but what is this? This is very deep. On the left?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Don't worry.
That's original. Oh, you gotta love look when you look up at what we crawl under sometimes.
Yes, at the bottom there is a hole on the left, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh wow, this is the this is for the air, right? Yeah, there's a tunnel down there.
Yes, there is, I think,
Yeah.
on the left. Yes?
Yeah, I think there's a tunnel walk down there, and this was part of the just like in Gorgast. There's a this is for the munition heist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was an elevator.
So there must be another underground.
Yep.
Well, I mean, we would think there's also another way down there.
No.
Really? So they're all sealed?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to bring a rope ladder. That's a safe climb. This is not a big deal climb.
There's a lot of gold inside.
Oh yeah, the gold train is downstairs. Isn't it sad that if we ever...
Wood.
A lot of detail for a munition list. It's kind of cool. There's something bolted there. Probably the part of the hoist. I mean, why would anybody break the floor? What are they hoping to get out of that? Oh, look. I have no problem digging up a rope ladder and coming down here. In fact, I insist on it. It is not that far of a stretch or a climb. Even for a regular ladder, that wouldn't be a big deal. I think that's something we have to do just to see what's under there. Even if it was covered up after the war, we don't know. I thought I saw a brick up here. There's bricks lying around everywhere. I wonder what this is, or was. So underneath all of this, this is one of the, it looks like I'm standing in one of the artillery positions. I see a mound there, plateau here, mound here. Could have been a munition hoist, lift, mound there. Very cool. That's a hell of a ditch. I use that term a lot because I think it's funny. But seriously, so this fort is centralized in there and surrounded by an enormous rampart and a very deep ditch. It's very cool, actually. I really want to. This would be kind of fun to do a LiDAR aerial scan. There's a hole there, by the way. And here's another mound for an artillery piece. Don't send the dog down there. Yep. Huh? What do you see? What are you seeing?
Is this brick structure? A wall?
Oh, down there. The little walkway there. That could be. I mean, if we walk around and into the ditch. I mean, there's got to be an into the ditch that levels out with where we are. I'm just happy we're here not. See, all of these are compartmentalized by these mounds. These were the artillery positions. Yeah, the cannons will be here. So wouldn't there be another shaft in each one? Well, there's only one way to find out. And if there's a shaft with one position, there would be with at least some of the others. It's not the most forgiving terrain I've ever been on, I'll just say. Hi, buddy. Dog leads the way.
Well, I'm surrounded by a forest. It's all right to explore the puppy dog. Yeah, there's a hole here. If we go down to this path down there, we can take all the holes from the other side instead of having to come down this mountain or hill.
Here's the ramp.
There's one there. Yeah, let's go down the ramp. So coming down the artillery ramp, we are down to where we came out. So that means that they'll be over here. Since it was reinforced before World War I, kind of makes you wonder why. Why would you reinforce this before World War I like this? Because there's clearly almost no chance, even at the outset of World War I, that anybody would think there would be any fighting here, which would then lead to the question too, maybe it was reinforced later, which certainly would lead to the question of why. Decided that we're going to walk the ditch because if there's one tunnel entrance, there has to be another. That's my logic at this point. And it's just a heck of a ditch. I mean, look at this. The mountain, or the mount, up the artillery positions would be up here. And there's a tire, so you know something happened during the Second World War. It's just that reinforcement really puzzles me. I don't see why there would be. The French reinforced their forts because they know the Germans were coming. This was pretty much smack in the center of Germany. There's no one moving this way. So there was no reason to reinforce this. So we're just going to go for a walk. This beautiful summer day in May. With this gorgeous Polish weather. And all the stuff that looks around and you think might be rain and wet and miserable. You are clearly wrong, and there's something wrong with your screen. Because I just see happy, happy, joy, joy summer. All these bricks came from somewhere, and that's what the locals were going to harvest. So why didn't they harvest them? So this is one of the corners. This is one of the corners of the fort.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got one more long side, and if we don't see anything, well then, the impossible has happened, and there won't be anything. But that's impossible. I absolutely refuse to believe that there's only one tunnel entrance, since all of these forts were built mirror. You split them down the middle, you can fold them over. They're identical to each other's sides. So there has to be something else. And there is something else right there. It's a tunnel roof. I always said there had to be something more. And this is in the outer wall. There's two. So right here in the corner, leading down that trench there, this could be the ditch defense. It's a little hard to tell, but it leads in deeper than this. It's bravely defended by a ton of mosquitoes out here. That's fine. It's another one. This had to have been the defenses for the ditch. There are two parallel openings leading right down the ditch. This had to be the ditch defense.
Yeah.
So there might be, so if there's not one over there, there's got to be one more down there. And they destroyed a lot of this because the locals dug out a lot of these rocks, so they may have begun the destruction inside. But that one over there is further away from the road, so maybe they were a little lazy and left that one alone. This is a really tall slope. And everywhere there's bricks and debris that must have come from somewhere. And we are now about to turn the other corner. So there has to be something in this corner, or at the very least the next. I don't see anything here. They could. I don't see. I mean, there's, if it had, I mean, there's tons of bricks here and also bigger pieces, which means something could have been dug out here and then just collapsed or fell over. So, plus the ground, this looks has a little indent in it, as if they dug out the bricks and the position collapsed. It's possible. With all this heavy brick came from somewhere. It probably came from here. They didn't take it from there and believe it. So there's one, and leading up to the next. So there might be one down there then. With the last, there's two more corners. We'll see. We're looking at the fourth side, and again I don't see anything. We had a talk that maybe there was a wall that they destroyed when they dismantled the fort, which is entirely possible here. And up here's the fourth corner. But there's a lot of indents in the ground that sort of don't look like they belong in a what should have been a straight ditch. Almost a little round here. And now we're almost back to where we started. I'm not sure what we have learned. There's something interesting about this small little fort that actually kind of intrigues me, because there's a lot more tunnels crawling around under the ground than what we can see. There's one here. And one thing is coming back with the ladder, which we will. We're going to have to. And there's other protrusions to the ground and tunnels running close to the ground really. But it's an interesting place, and we don't know a whole lot about it. But I kind of really want to know. Behind me is Wernher von Braun's first test stand. Down the road is Deimler's nuclear reactor. Over there is the Maginot Line and all its amazing forts. I'm visiting them all and I'm bringing them to you. So I really appreciate you like, follow, and share what I'm doing, trying to document all these important historical locations. And if you feel like you want to watch more pictures or documents that I use for these, go to lostbattlefields.com. And if you feel like helping me out with my travels, because gasoline and travel and airfare is expensive, my PayPal is there, protectionserviceint.com. You are more than welcome, but you don't have to. I appreciate all your support and all your help, and I love seeing these locations, and I love bringing them to you.